Shedeur Sanders didn't need to throw a single pass to make his presence felt. Every time Gabriel hesitated, every time the offense sputtered, every fan in the stands could feel the frustration. Not just at performance, but at the decision behind it. Jimmy Haslam's visible fury told the story. This wasn't a team learning from mistakes. It was a team repeating them. With Sanders benched and Gabriel struggling, the Browns' offensive rhythm collapsed under the weight of indecision. Even Quinn-Sean Judkins' flashes of brilliance couldn't mask a system unwilling to let its most talented player lead. At its core, this is a story of wasted potential. Cleveland isn't losing because it lacks talent. It's losing because it refuses to use it. Sanders has the skill, the leadership, and the vision to change this team's trajectory, but the organization's fear of disruption has become its biggest enemy. Every conservative call and every missed opportunity signals the same truth. Until the Browns embrace the courage to start Sanders, they'll remain a team defined by what could have been. The Browns didn't just lose to the Dolphins. They exposed a kind of dysfunction that tanks entire seasons. And the issue isn't hidden. It's right at the center of everything. The quarterback. More specifically, the fact that Gabriel is still starting while Shedeur Sanders, your most promising player, is stuck watching from the sideline. 55 passing yards by halftime. That's what Gabriel gave them. That's not a rough day. That's not something you clean up with a few halftime adjustments. That's a warning sign lit in flashing red. And yet, the Browns walked back out there in the second half and acted like nothing was wrong. Like that performance didn't scream for change. Like continuing the same plan would somehow unlock a different result. This isn't about being reactive. This is about refusing to fix something broken when the fix is sitting right there. Shedeur Sanders is more than capable of taking the field. He has poise. He has composure. He has the talent. And he has the mental toughness you want under center. But instead of developing him with actual reps, the Browns are letting him sit idle while Gabriel flounders. And flounder is exactly what he's doing. Gabriel's game was a masterclass in how not to run an NFL offense. Every throw was safe. Every read was late. Every snap looked like a coach telling his quarterback, "Please don't mess this up." That's not a system. That's survival mode. What message does that send to the rest of the roster? To the defense that's been asked to bail this team out every week? To players like Myles Garrett, who is visibly frustrated and out there giving 100% only to watch the offense trip over itself time and time again? They know what's happening. They know the quarterback isn't getting it done. They know Sanders gives them a better shot. But the staff keeps pushing the same failing script, as if grit alone can overcome a clear lack of production. And it's not just players who are fed up. Ownership is feeling it too. Jimmy Haslam, by multiple accounts, is livid. And how could he not be? This is a rebuilding roster. This is a team with one of the most dangerous defenses in football, a running game that has real juice behind rookie Quinn-Sean Judkins, and a glaring need at quarterback that they refuse to address. It's a textbook case of coaching paralysis. The Browns are so afraid of looking like they gave up on Gabriel too soon that they're willing to tank the rest of the season just to protect that decision. But let's call it what it is. A bad call. They got it wrong. Gabriel doesn't have it. Not right now. And continuing to ride with him is actively hurting the team. The play calling proves it. Stefanski has gone into a shell, calling screens, checkdowns, and runs on third and long like he's coordinating a high school offense. That's what you do when you don't trust your quarterback. And if you don't trust him, why is he still starting? The worst part? Sanders isn't just a mystery box of potential. He's a known commodity. He's shown that he can read defenses, make throws under pressure, and command an offense with maturity well beyond his years. He's everything the Browns are lacking right now. But instead of using him, they've benched him.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
For what? Loyalty? Caution? Fear of the unknown? At this point, the only thing unknown is how much longer they'll let this go on before something finally breaks. Because make no mistake, it will break. If the defense keeps being asked to do everything, the locker room will fracture. If the receivers keep running routes for a quarterback who can't hit them, they'll lose trust. If the fans keep watching a team sabotage itself, they'll check out. And Shedeur Sanders? He's showing the kind of restraint and professionalism that should already make him the face of the franchise. He's waiting, quietly, patiently, respectfully. But how long can that last? How long can a young quarterback watch a team crumble without being given a fair shot to change it? Every game he doesn't play is development wasted. Every snap Gabriel takes is one more moment the team is choosing comfort over growth. And in the NFL, stagnation is death. There's no more benefit of the doubt. No more he's learning. Gabriel's had his chance. The Browns gave him the start. They built a game plan around him. They tried to protect him. And it didn't work. Now it's time to stop protecting a mistake and start investing in the future. Start Sanders. Let him make mistakes. Let him throw picks. Let him miss a read or two. At least then, the team is building something. At least then, fans can watch the offense knowing that every rep matters. Every throw means something. Right now, it's just a countdown to failure. What's baffling is how long this has dragged on. The tape is clear. The numbers are clear. The body language from the players is clear. The only thing not clear is a reason behind sticking with a quarterback the staff doesn't even seem to trust. You can't run an offense while tiptoeing around your own QB, and you shouldn't have to. So where's the urgency? Where's the accountability? Where's the self-awareness? The Browns are treating this like they have time, like they can afford to be wrong a few more weeks before making the switch. But time in the NFL is brutal. You don't get second chances. You don't get to press pause on momentum. You either build it or you lose it. And the Browns are letting it slip through their fingers. Sanders brings that momentum. He brings clarity. A clean break from the conservative panic that has defined the offense under Gabriel. A fresh direction for a team stuck in neutral. He might not be perfect, but he doesn't have to be. He just has to play. That's the only way forward. There's no longer a debate. The decision isn't bold. It's overdue. It's not a risk. It's a necessity. Continuing to start Gabriel isn't safe. It's reckless. It's the kind of move that erodes faith, from the locker room to the fan base to the ownership suite. And Jimmy Haslam isn't hiding his frustration. That frustration is now shared by tens of thousands of fans and more than a few players. The Browns have a choice. Start Sanders, take control of their future, and reestablish trust. Or keep doubling down on a failed experiment and watch everything unravel. The Browns aren't out of time yet, but they're close. They still have a defense that can win games. They still have a rookie quarterback who's ready to grow. They still have something worth saving, but only if they act. Now, start Sanders. Let the locker room reset. Let the fans breathe again. Let the offense finally take a step forward. If you're as frustrated as the rest of Cleveland, drop your thoughts in the comments. Like if you're tired of excuses. Share this with someone who still believes this team can turn it around. If they do the obvious. And subscribe, because if the Browns keep waiting, we'll be back next week having the same conversation. Again, louder, with more losses. Make the move. Start Shedeur. Save the season. The clock's already ticking. There's no way this coaching staff watches that game tape, sees Gabriel putting up a college-level passing stat line in an NFL game, and actually believes it's the right decision. No way. They've got analysts, position coaches, quarterback consultants. Hell, they have eyes. They see what we all see. The difference is, we're saying it out loud. They're too deep into a mistake to admit it. And that's what this has become, a pride war. This isn't about Gabriel's development anymore. This is about avoiding the optics of failure. The staff is trying to prove they were right, and in doing so, they're sacrificing the team's present and future. You're not just benching a quarterback when you sit Sanders, you're benching opportunity. You're delaying wins. You're holding back growth. You're telling the locker room, we care more about saving face than doing what's best for the team. That doesn't just cost games. It costs trust. You think Myles Garrett is going to keep smiling through this? You think Denzel Ward, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, or any of the guys killing themselves on defense are going to keep buying when they're watching an offense that can't complete basic passes, that gets 3 plays per possession before punting it away again and again? They know how good this defense is. That's what makes it hurt worse. This isn't a team in transition. It's a team being shackled by one position, and by the people refusing to fix it. Let's talk reality. The Browns aren't going to the playoffs with Dillon Gabriel under center. That's already clear. Teams with playoff potential don't get held to 55 yards of passing in 2 quarters and call it growing pains. They call it disaster. And they act. Because what's happening isn't just stagnation, it's rot. It spreads. Once the defense starts to feel like their effort is pointless, their production drops. Once receivers feel like the ball won't ever reach them, they start running routes at 80%. Once players check out emotionally, that's it. That's the ball game. And it's already starting. You can see it in sideline shots. Garrett with his hands on his hips, shaking his head. Receivers walking back to the huddle with that. Why am I even out here? Look, Judkin's running like he's the only one who still believes. That's the beginning of a breakdown. The fix is sitting right there. Shedeur Sanders. A quarterback with confidence, precision, and command. A guy who's been raised for the spotlight. Groomed for these moments. The difference between him and Gabriel isn't just mechanics. It's presence. When Sanders steps on the field, he brings belief. When Gabriel steps on the field, you can practically feel the air go out of the stadium. This is more than just numbers. This is identity. Culture. Direction. Sanders is a spark. But instead of using him, the Browns are keeping him sealed away like a fire extinguisher behind glass. Only they're refusing to break the glass, even though the building's clearly on fire. Every week that goes by without giving him the start is another week lost. And not just to the standings. Lost to player development, lost offensive rhythm, lost to chemistry between quarterback and receivers. All those things you need to build something sustainable, they're not happening. Because the guy who can deliver them isn't being allowed to. And again, why? What are they scared of? That Sanders might throw a pick? That he might look like a rookie? Because newsflash, that's what rookies do. But when that rookie also gives you a vertical threat, real huddle command, and the ability to extend plays under pressure, you live with the bumps. Because the upside is worth it. Right now, there is no upside, just repetition. Just this endless cycle of ineffective quarterback play, conservative calls, and squandered momentum. How many more drives need to stall before something changes? How many more wasted Sundays before someone in leadership finally says, enough? The thing that's so wild is that no one's asking for a miracle here. No one's saying Sanders needs to come in and be the savior. Just let him play. Let him experience it. Let him take hits. Make throws. Build rhythm. Learn. Grow. That's what this league is built on. Reps. You don't grow quarterbacks by protecting them from the field. You grow them on the field. But the Browns are treating him like some delicate project who might shatter under the pressure. And meanwhile, Gabriel is already broken. You can see it in his face. He's overwhelmed. He knows he doesn't have the leash. He's playing scared. Coaching scared. And it's bleeding into the whole roster. They've got no juice. No explosiveness. No identity. And the fans? The fans are done. They've been more patient than most fan bases ever would be. They've been sold a dozen new eras. They bought into every fresh start, every draft pick, every off-season slogan. But this one stings more because the solution is already on the team and the coaches are refusing to use it. That's what burns the most. It's not about waiting for a trade. It's not about bad cap space or injuries. It's about a coach staring at a talented quarterback in his own building and saying, we'd rather lose than admit we were wrong. And it's going to cost them because Haslam isn't going to let this go. The players aren't going to keep quiet forever. And if Sanders decides that this team doesn't value him enough to even give him a shot, there's going to be a long list of other franchises ready to hand him one. So what's it going to be, Cleveland? Stick with a quarterback who can't move the offense? Or finally unleash the one guy who might actually pull this team out of the spiral? Because this isn't just about talent anymore. It's about principle, about leadership, about whether this franchise is capable of doing what's right, even if it's uncomfortable. Start Shedeur Sanders. Start him because he's better, because he's earned it, because he gives the team a chance. Because every second you wait, you're doing more damage than you realize. It's one thing to lose because the other team outplayed you. That happens. But this This is losing because of your own choices, over and over, week after week. And when the Browns decided to leave Shedeur Sanders on the bench again while trotting out Dillon Gabriel for another flatline performance, they weren't just making a bad call. They were making a statement. The statement is this: we're okay with wasting our season, because at this point, there's no other explanation. You're not evaluating anymore. You're not developing. You're not bringing them along. What you're doing is ignoring reality because you're too deep into mistake to turn around. Gabriel's first half stat line, 55 yards, isn't just embarrassing. It's symbolic. It represents exactly how small the Browns' offense has become, how limited, how timid. The staff isn't just calling conservative plays. They're designing entire game plans around minimizing the damage their own quarterback might cause. That's not a strategy. That's crisis management. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is watching. Still, he's watching while the team bleeds momentum, watching while drives end before they begin, watching while the defense hold the line, only to be sent right back onto the field because the offense couldn't string together 3 first downs. And don't underestimate the damage this does, because this isn't just frustrating for Sanders. It's frustrating for everyone. When players give max effort and leadership refuses to match that with smart decisions, resentment builds. And once a team turns on the process, it's almost impossible to get them back. Right now, this coaching staff is running on fumes. There's no credibility left in the building. Players are watching the same film. The fans are. They see what's happening. They know Sanders is the better quarterback. They've seen it in practice. They felt the difference. And yet, here we are, pretending like Dillon Gabriel is still the answer, even though all he's done is stall the offense and set the entire team back. There's nothing to protect anymore. Nothing left to hide behind. Every metric, every eye test, every instinct says the same thing. Start Shedeur Sanders. The only thing stopping this is ego. That's what makes this infuriating. This isn't about football anymore. This is about optics, pride, a coaching staff more afraid of admitting a mistake than fixing it. And while they hesitate, the season slips further and further away. It's not just that Gabriel isn't good enough. It's that the Browns are building their entire offensive identity around the fact that he isn't good enough. You can't run an NFL team that way. You can't build a culture of winning while protecting a quarterback from his own job. You think the defense doesn't notice? You think they're going to keep laying it all on the line while the offense keeps handing games back to the opponent? Look at Garrett. Look at the sideline. Look at how many of these guys are already showing signs of emotional fatigue. That's what happens when you give and give and give, and leadership gives you nothing in return. And what happens if this continues? How long before the locker room gives up? How long before you start losing more than games? Before you lose belief? Trust? Players? That's the cost of doing nothing. But it doesn't have to be this way. The Browns aren't out of options. They're refusing to use the one that's been right in front of them from the beginning. Shedeur Sanders. He has the arm, the accuracy, the mobility, the poise. He's shown all of it. He's shown maturity beyond his years. He's shown leadership. And most importantly, he's shown he's ready. What he hasn't been given is a chance. And for what? To protect Gabriel's confidence? At the expense of the entire team? That kind of decision-making is how seasons die. Slowly, silently, and then all at once. Because this isn't a 2-quarterback competition. It's a one-sided mismatch. It's one guy who can't throw downfield, can't read coverages, and can't handle pressure, versus another who's been groomed for the big stage, who understands NFL tempo, who's built for moments like this. How long are the Browns going to pretend this is close? How many more weeks are they going to throw away before admitting what everyone already knows? There's no more time to waste. Every game Shedeur Sanders doesn't play is another week he's not developing. Another week he's not getting chemistry with receivers. Another week he's not learning timing, pocket presence, NFL defenses. That experience matters. And you don't get it back. Once the reps are gone, they're gone. They are wasting a critical year of growth for the most important position on the team. And let's say it clearly, this season can still be saved. The defense is that good. The roster isn't broken. The talent is there. But the quarterback has to change. The offense needs someone who can open up the playbook, stretch the field, keep defenses honest, and keep his own team believing. That guy isn't Dillon Gabriel. That guy is Shedeur Sanders. Every week this delay continues. The Browns fall deeper into dysfunction. They're not just making a bad choice. They're reinforcing bad culture. They're telling the team, we'll wait this out, even if it costs us everything. You think Judkins doesn't feel that? He's playing out his mind, carrying drives on his own, fighting for every inch. And for what? To watch a failed QB experiment get more chances while he burns his rookie legs into the turf? You think Sanders' family isn't watching? You think his teammates aren't wondering how much longer this coaching staff is going to deny what's painfully obvious? That's the kind of dysfunction that echoes beyond a single season. Because it's not just about now. It's about what this says about the Browns' future, about how they handle talent, about whether this team is truly serious about building something, or if it's just clinging to bad decisions because they're afraid of admitting they were wrong. There's no shame in getting it wrong. It happens. What matters is whether you fix it. Right now, they're not fixing anything. And Jimmy Haslam's reported frustration? Completely justified. He's watching the team he owns unravel. Not because they're outmatched, but because they're being outmanaged, outthought, outsmarted by their own refusal to pivot. This isn't bold talk. It's the bare minimum. Every team in this league has to make tough calls. The best ones do it fast. The Browns? They're still pretending this is fine. It's not fine. And the longer they pretend, the worse it gets. Start Sanders. Not to make a splash. Not to prove a point. But to move forward. To give this team something real. To give the fans a reason to believe again. To stop wasting the season. To stop insulting the defense. To stop sacrificing development. You don't bench your future just to protect your past. You don't waste this kind of potential on pride. Let him play. Let him lead. Let him grow. And if the coaching staff can't see that, then maybe it's not just the quarterback position that needs a change. Leave a comment if you've seen enough. Hit like if you're done with excuses. Share this with someone who's still holding out hope, because they deserve better than this. And subscribe, because as long as the Browns keep choosing dysfunction, we'll be here to break it down every painful step of the way. Start Shedeur Sanders, and stop pretending this is anything other than what it is: sabotage.